A full John Cena retirement. Drew gets screwed again, and a new Miss Money in the Bank. What a Money in the Bank 2024 we did see from the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. This is Stephen Milhausen, another Walkway to Fight Club podcast. Well, let's get down to it, guys. What a show we saw. But to me, headlined by the retirement of the greatest of all time, one of the greatest of all time, 16-time WWE champion John Cena announced that after the second match on the show, came out for a promo and said that he said, this will be my last. Well, I'll be wrestling one more Royal Rumble, one more Elimination Chamber, one more WrestleMania. And I will be back for Netflix's debut for WWE Raw coming up in January. It was sad. You watch John come out by Trish Stratus, a nice surprise, even though it had been leaked earlier in the day that he was in Toronto. He came out, great ovation. The shirt was very one last ride, so you kind of figured you knew what was going on. Tremendous ovation, got to the ring, pandered to the crowd, pandered to the Toronto crowd, as he should. Talked about some of his moments in Toronto and just got right down to business and said, this is going to be it. I'll see you in January. And he made it appear at first that WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas would be it. It would be the finale. But during the post-fight press conference, you can call it a post-fight press conference, John Cena did make a comment on when and how much longer he would be wrestling. And that was the great John Cena. And that was courtesy of the WWE press conference. And, if you really, it's sad because you look at everything John's done. And I just watched today, I literally was watching it this afternoon, the 2011 Money in the Bank match with CM Punk. I was there. What a raucous crowd that was in my hometown of Chicago, Illinois. But just a really, thinking about that and just thinking about debuting here in Chicago. I was there at that debut. I was there at the Money in the Bank. And, I look at my kids, and my kids love John Cena. And I haven't got a chance to tell them yet exactly what is going on. And it was just so kind of took me back. My kids are out of town, and I texted my wife, and I'm like, "Hey, let them know this." She's like, "No, you got to tell them." And it's like my oldest is all about it. He's got the Cena shirts, he's got the retros, he had the new blue one. I'm gonna have to. I just checked my email, WWE shop. I got to go get him in. My youngest has got a retro John Cena shirt. My kids are, and I'm sitting here kind of crying here, and I don't know why. It is wrestling, and but it just made me very nostalgic for a minute, and I look at my kids, and if you hear fireworks, that is my apology. I don't know why. It's 2 days after the 4th of July, and I got people blowing off fireworks. But, I look at my generation, it was like I didn't appreciate John more until the later half. And we'll get into this more in another time, but, it is you could see stuff winding down. It was you started to appreciate more because you see the people he was wrestling, the people he was putting over. Even if he won, guys like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Bryan Danielson, the late great Bray Wyatt. Look what he did for Austin Theory. Even though I think now that's finally started. I think finally starting to get a little appreciation for Austin Theory. But yeah, when I look at my kids, my oldest is about to be 8. My youngest just turned 5. They love John Cena. That's the guy. That's the man. The hustle, loyalty, and respect. The jorts, the hat, everything in between. So that was a shocker. That kind of brought me down, and it really wasn't supposed to do that. And yeah, but that's a lot of talk about, now look what everyone was talking about media matches, and now he's looking at 35 to 40 dates. John can have some fun here. And I'm intrigued by he's not gonna wrestle on every Raw, and he's not, I don't think he's gonna be on every PLE, but I think he's gonna make a fair amount of appearances. And I think that's awesome. Because right now he got the weekend off he's filming The Peacemaker, which airs on Max, and he's doing the filming in Canada. So he was able to, as he put it, got the weekend off. And that kind of brought a downer for me. That made me sad and happy at the same time. Because now I gotta happy because you don't ever want to see talent continue to put themselves through the rigors if they don't really have to. And look at how successful John is. And now, now the bad part is like the sad part is I was crying. I was like, I gotta spend a lot of money here. Just not for me, but for my kids. And my kids love John. And now I gotta go find a lot of anywhere he comes in the Midwest, WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble. Yeah, I mean, there's gonna I think I'm gonna be spending a lot of money in 2025. I'm gonna be kind of like on the John Cena retirement tour with my children when they are not in school, and we can somehow work it out. But the one thing I didn't mention at the top, and let's get right to it, the main event. Solo Sikoa pins the WWE champion. The first pin fall that Cody Rhodes has taken since he beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. This was the right finish. Let's not sugarcoat it. It was. I have no qualms with the finish. It was the right thing to do. There was only one way to go unless you weren't going to have this match at SummerSlam. It doesn't feel. I'm starting to warm up to the idea of this being a SummerSlam main event because it seems like we know. At least we're getting the impression of what we know, what could be the light at the end of the tunnel, and that can be the highly anticipated return of Roman Reigns. Match went 25 minutes. I liked the match, had good heat, lots of booking holes. I just wasn't like, if I'm the baby faces, I'm coming right out when the bloodline has their backs to them, and I'm going to kick their ass. What are we doing? They just let it. Man, that was like, okay, yeah, we got to kick your butt. Yeah, you kicked that. We're still mad, but you know what? It's okay. You can do you can say you're the ones. I'm like, what are we doing here? Really wasn't. And then when the bloodline's getting beat down and you don't see them like trying, the babyface getting off the apron and running to the heel side and getting thwarted or stopped in the middle by the ref. Really wasn't. Just some easy booking holes that I really just did not understand and I really wasn't a fan of. But to me, the star of the match wasn't, yeah, Solo gets the pin. That's what we're talking about. But Jacob fought too. What a star. The Samoan werewolf. His first bump in a pay-per-view match, and his first time in, not just in the ring, but first time ending a match. He takes the Randy Orton draping DDT. And bam, he pops right up. Had a big hand in Solo Sikoa hitting the Samoan spike for Solo to pin Cody to win the main event. But Jacob Fatu, man, just oozes charisma, oozes that he's a badass. It's in the pre-show, and they're talking about how the WWE and Triple H had to connive the Canadian authorities to get Jacob Fatu into Canada. I just portraying him as this big bad wolf, the big bad wolf. I'm not huff pupping, blow your house down. Just that little. It's the little things that WWE is doing right now that is really well done, and it's what getting the fans invested into the stories, selling tickets, buying merch, watching on TV. Beyond that, to me, what I noticed was a booking hole, and this simple lot, not little gaping storyline hole, which was very weird in this match. The booking was a little weird, but they did get the finish right, and that's at the end of the day, to me, is what really matters. Before we get to the men, I want to go and let's get to, and but we will get Solo Sokoa and Cody Rhodes. That will be one would have to assume that would be the main event of SummerSlam, August 3rd, out in Cleveland, Ohio. Kind of picked a better town than Cleveland, but who am I to ruin a good story? But let's go to the women's Money in the Bank. Before we go to the men, I kind of want to go, boom, even though the men's did have the bigger story, but I really wanted to get to this because Tiffany Stratton showed out. She did win the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Was it as good as the men's? No, it wasn't. I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend it was. Because you had the first, I would say, 10 to 13 minutes where it was clunky. There was some missed spots. Or they were botched. You know, you had Zoe Stark missed. Oh God, I think she did try to do a somersault onto the ladder. Naomi, it was just simple things of just pulling the ladder back, not having the ladder so close. Just pull it back a little bit. Even if the worst thing is you get like the lower part of your body on the tail. You know, because all you're doing is Naomi hurt herself and Zoe hurt herself. But then once Tiffany Stratton got in and hit the Alabama Slam, did that beautiful swanton onto the outside, it seemed like then the match really picked up. You saw a lot of really good action with Stratton. She just oozes. Like her and Chelsea Green, just you have this innate charisma between them, then where it's like they get it. They already got the crowd in the palm of their hand. And I thought it was either going to be Tiffany or Chelsea Green that were going to win the match. And, the Canadian crowd behind their hometown girl in Chelsea. And, if she would have won, I wouldn't have really had too much of a problem. It would make sense. She knows how to tell a story. She's got the right facials to wear, and you got the muscle behind her in Piper Niven. So you could have went there. It would have been great too. No problem with Tiffany Stratton. She's box office. She oozes all that. And then she wins the match. The crowd loved it. The crowd's chanting Tiffy time during the match. I said Tiffy time. I'm sitting there just watching on my lazy boy. Like, it's Tiffy time. I was all about it. But right move, right time. And she can have the briefcase for a minute. This is not a thing to where she needs to cash in like this week on SmackDown. You got Bayley and Nia Jax at SummerSlam. Maybe you do it at SummerSlam. Maybe. I think Bayley deserves a little bit of a longer run, but I think you can go with her having the briefcase for a minute. You don't need it. This doesn't have to be like that. We got to do it today. We got to do it yesterday. But then I like the interaction too that she had in the back before the main event with Trish Stratus, who was the host of Money in the Bank, and maybe they do that at SummerSlam. I kind of was a little. You can have a little passing of the torch moment there. I think you can do at SummerSlam. When it gets Trish is great in the ring. It gets Stratton over more, makes her a little more legitimate than she already is. Adding another match. Look at it, like Charlotte Flair had a good match. You look at the program she had with Becky. Look at the program with Zoe Stark. So you look at, and that did help Zoe. Trish is at that stage where she's done it all. She can be now. She wants to have fun. She wants to help elevate some talent that she sees fit. They're like, okay, they're almost there. I can get hit. They're here. I can get them up here. So maybe we get that at SummerSlam. I think that would be very intriguing. And I don't even know where I would rank this in terms of importance on the show. Some say it's first, some say it's second, some say it's third. I go with John Cena. But this was another really big integral part of the show. Drew McIntyre wins the men's Money in the Bank, but got screwed once again by CM Punk. The men's match kicked off the show, which had been reported by some outlets. And not a bad way to start. You knew what you were getting with Drew. You knew Andrade, Carmelo, Jey Uso, LA Knight, and Chad Gable. Like you knew what you were getting. And it was just a more of who's going to win. You kind of figured it would either be Drew or it would be Jey Uso. Jey Uso was the betting favorite, according to BetOnline _AG. Those guys are fantastic. Make sure you guys are following them by really good odds. But you kind of had a feeling with the way this story is being told, you've kind of figured it either be Drew or Jay, but you kind of see where Drew would make more sense, just considering the program and everything going on. And that match was fantastic. Oh my God, the match was fantastic. And, to me, even though Andrade took a big beating, that sunset flip power bomb through the ladder to poor Carmelo Hayes. Oh my God, I hope Carmelo was okay. But Carmelo really stood out. Andrade stood out. I was really impressed with Chad Gable. But you knew where the match was coming down to. It came down to Drew and Jay. And looked like Jay was going to have it. Here came Drew with the ladder, knocked Jay off the ladder, hit a Claymore. I don't know if Jay was knocked out or just playing groggy, or Paul Levesque said everyone appeared to be okay coming out from the show. So that is good news. And then Drew climbed up the ladder. Drew McIntyre wins the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. And I've seen some people really getting pissy that, Drew wins. This is what's going to happen. Who cares? Sometimes predictability is the best thing to happen. Why not be predictable? Who cares? That's what makes this fun. Some predictability, if you tell a great enough story, predictability is fun. Who cares? I hate when people get their panties in a bunch when it comes to this. But then you had the third match on the show after the announcement of John Cena. Then you had Damian Priest, Seth Rollins, World Heavyweight title. It took them a minute to get that crowd back. I don't know if that was just me, but it felt like the crowd, it took a little while. Seth still didn't seem right. He was going maybe 70%, 75%. Seth just really, to me, didn't seem right at all. And I hope that he's okay. I really, really do, because you don't want him coming back early. He's still a big part of the future in these next couple of years. Look at the big role he played at WrestleMania. He's still a very big cog in the wheel in the story that they're telling. And I know everyone online is getting upset about, Seth hit the Falcon Arrow. It was 1, 2, and Priest didn't do anything. To me, it seemed like someone in production made an error, and Levesque at the presser did not want to blame production. I think we're giving Priest too much flack, giving production too much flack. Sometimes shit just happens, and that's okay. Stuff just happens. Not everything is always perfect. Things happen. Not the end of the world. Let's move on. But I think, Priest is getting a lot of flack. The referee's getting a lot of flack. Production. It happens. It was a little clunky. Yeah, you don't want that in a big match like this with, the finish of what the finish was supposed to be. Because then here comes Drew. The music hits. Drew's cleaning house. Punk comes from under the ring. I watched a fan video. I was trying to figure out where he came from. A fan video showed he came out from under the ring and cleaned house on Drew. Choked him with a mic cable. Beat him with the belt. He took the belt, sat on the table. Seth was on the outside. Priest hit his finish. I always forget Priest's finish. retained the title. He looked at Punk for a while, like, "What are you doing? Why are you helping me? I did not need your help. I was perfectly fine." Because he had told the members of the Judgment Day, "I don't need your help." And here you got CM Punk getting involved. It was, I thought it was kind of funny. It was just kind of like I felt bad for Priest, but he's still the world heavyweight champion, and I know people are really crapping on him, and I think he's had a good run. He's the world heavyweight champion. He's gotten a main event appearance. He's main evented stuff. He main evented Backlash. Main evented Clash at the Castle. That's not bad. You get the main event 2 pay-per-views. No, main event 1 pay-per-view. I take that back. He did not main event Backlash. That was Cody and AJ Styles. But you're in highly significant programs against the biggest names in the business. There's worse things to happen. And for at this stage of his career here, let's lay off of him. But then like after the match, Seth rolls outside. He's going at Punk. He's got to be held back by Corey Graves. Punk stands up on the announce table. So you've got like a 3-way like conundrum here, which I like. So you got you got a heated rivalry. So we're going back to Seth and Punk. You got Drew and Punk. Priest really didn't seem overall too thrilled with Punk. It's supposed to be Priest and Gunther at SummerSlam. So that'll be interesting. Maybe we get a 4, maybe get a 5. That'd be cool. I wouldn't mind that necessarily. I'd be cool with that. Who would not be cool with that? It's interesting. Do we do a 5? I'm gonna have to think about it. But no, but we're really calling a spade a spade. I like the idea. I think maybe they do a 3-way at SummerSlam. I don't know. It all depends on if Punk's going to be ready. You have to think with him coming out, imagine he'll be on Raw Monday. You have to figure he's got to be healthy. If he's sitting there throwing right hands, left hands, swinging chairs, grabbing belts, throwing punches, you'd have to think CM Punk would be ready. But overall, I thought a really good Money in the Bank. Some little booking holes that I see, but the crowd was hot. Toronto always shows out. That's one of the best crowds for WWE. Toronto, no one's topping here in the Shy. Let's just be honest. But really good, really good crowd in Toronto. I like the 5 matches when it's not a SummerSlam, Mania, Rumble, Survivor Series. I like that when it's not when they keep it to 5 pay-per-views between 3 hours and 3 hours and 15 minutes. Oh, before I want to go back really quickly because we were talking about. I like what happened at the post show when it was in like the concourse with Jackie Redmond, Wade Barrett, and Big E. Here came McIntyre. He's freaking pissed. Wanted Punk. Oh, he's knocking out refs. Adam Pearce trying to grab me. Elbows. Pearce gets in his face. Barrett separates him. Barrett gets him out. Let's definitely continue that. I'm very ticked off Drew McIntyre, and I think Drew McIntyre is really, you can tell Drew's really geeked just by the emotion he's bringing out each and every week, and I absolutely love it. But a good Money in the Bank, a good PLE heading in the SummerSlam, the third PLE, major PLE. Let's call it the big four. Let's just the big 4 of 2024 out in Cleveland, Ohio. Don't know if I'm going to be there. My son's birthday is the 5th, so I'm going to see what I'm able to do, and if hopefully I can somehow make that work, and I can get to Cleveland, Ohio. But it's simple. You can follow me right under my name there. Instagram, on Twitter at smilhausenjr. That's where you can also find me on TikTok. On Instagram, you can find me at smilhausen. Just take out the JR, and there you go. Subscribe to the channel. It is so important that you guys subscribe to the channel. You'll get all the latest notifications. Also, if you are not able to watch on video, Download, rate, review, and subscribe to the audio version on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and all your favorite podcasting platforms. I'm back. I'm bigger, badder, stronger, better than ever. A lot of awesome content is coming. I am so geeked to be doing this. I'm going to go back and watch Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal because that's going to be starting in a little bit here. This is Steven Mielhausen, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.